Okay, so to support this functionality, so we can log in into our Django application, the first thing that we have to do is to add the roots to accounts login, and then reuse the views that are provided by default by Django, the authentication package. And also we are going to use the logout view, so we can reuse both. So we simply need to add these two roots to the URLs file of our project, so we can reuse these roots at the level of the whole project for all the applications. So we add them, and we also add the imports corresponding. Okay, so now we have add accounts login. This is the view that is going to be executed. That is the one that is taking care of authentication based on the Django user. But in addition to this, we also need to provide the form where we can perform this authentication. First of all, we are going to add a template. So we need also to configure at the level of our project where we can find our templates. We will add a generic root that is any templates folder, starting from the base folder. So we are going to add, and these are the templates that will be generic for the whole project. So we will add a new directory, label it templates. Okay, and we will configure in settings, templates, and we will add this path. So Django is capable of finding our templates here. Then inside templates, we'll create a new folder, because here we will place the templates that are connected with registration, and is where Django is looking for them. So we will add a new directory, and here, using registration as the new folder name, we are going to add the template for login, because Django is going to find for it in template registration login by default. So we will copy, this is the HTML for this login form. We then create the corresponding file, that is login.html, and paste the code for this HTML page that basically has a title. Here has a section where Django can it sends us back to this form whenever the login fails. We can use it to show the errors. For instance, if the password was not correct or the user that didn't exist, these are placed in form errors, so we can show them here. We also have here the form, is the one that we are looking for from the text and the BDD text for the register restaurant feature, the step for login. We can see here the form. We can also see here the input fields, username and password, that we are also filling with the username and password received through the step implementation. And we also have here the login button that we are clicking to submit this form. The submission is done here, not to a specific URL, but using the name of the corresponding view. The view is login. And this is what we have defined in the URLs file. We have set accounts login as a URL where this form is available, but we are also labeling them with name. So this view is named login. And it's better to use the name of the view instead of the URL, because this way we can change later and we don't have to touch our code, just changing here in URLs, the URL. The rest of the code, if it's referring to the names of the view instead of the paths, it's much more easy to maintain. So basically, these are the features here. We also have this hidden input field that is next. This is where we are instructing after successful login where we want the user to be redirected. And as you remember, in the implementation, in authentication of this step, we are setting this to be my restaurants because we want users to go back to the entry page for my restaurants. So this is the expected behavior and what we are going to implement also from other, for instance, from the link to the login page will behave like this. Okay, so now we have everything prepared. So as we mentioned, the views are going to look for the corresponding form at registration login HTML. So we have it here in the templates folder. So if we execute now again behave, we will see that in this case, both steps now are succeeding. So we are in principle being able to log in. Apart from creating the corresponding user, we are logging, and then the following step when I register is failing because this step is not implemented yet. An alternative, instead of using the command line to execute behave, and as you can see, it's more difficult to follow what's happening here, we can also use, because behave is integrated into PyCharm, we can go to the features that we are working on, and this is much more convenient because we can do this from right here. We just need to click in any or the feature, right? We can run all the scenarios for a feature, or we can also click on a specific scenario and then right click and we can just run that specific scenario. So if we click, we can see that here we are also executing the same scenario steps. And as you can see, we can see here that both steps are pacing. Everything is okay, but then here it's complaining about this step is not defined yet. And we can even click to see the output for each step, and in this case, the output is that it is undefined. So now we need to continue working on the implementation of the steps that correspond to that specific part. And they are the ones that are still in yellow, the registered restaurant, and also the steps corresponding to the outcomes of this feature.